What's up, my YouTubians? I'm back again with another vlog. So, y'all, I just wanted to come to y'all this morning. Y'all remember when I covered this case about 8, 9 months ago? Let me give y'all a little replay on what I'm talking about.
Megan, 2 men have now been arrested and charged thanks to our reporting.
Right, Brad. 2 out of a total of 5 suspects accused with assaulting this 10-year-old girl in a string of assaults dating back years. Today, the latest chapter in how the system failed to protect a 10-year-old girl despite years of warnings and calls for help, uncovered by the CBS 2 investigators. Chicago police arrested this man, 43-year-old Joseph Brenner, on Tuesday. Prosecutors said last year the 10-year-old girl was walking by a park near his home. He stopped her and asked if she wanted to drink or smoke. She told him she was 10, and he still brought her to this Washington Heights motel, charging documents say. Police say he raped her on several occasions, at one point dressing her up to look older and selling sex with her to other men at a party. The victim's uncle spotted them at a gas station, and investigators say the mother even confronted Brenner at his home. In October, the victim's mother took her to Comer Children's Hospital for a physical exam. But it wasn't until this week that Brenner, a former Marine and current employee of the Union Pacific Railroad, was placed into custody. Prosecutors didn't comment on the lapse in time. The lag times in this case have sparked protests and outrage by Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Officers arrested a different predator, Samuel Brown, in March, despite having DNA evidence linking him to the rape since November. The Chicago Police Department launched an internal investigation into its mishandling of child sexual abuse case as a result. So far, no update on that investigation.
It's so disturbing.
But critics like Stephanie Love Patterson, with connections for abused women and their children, argue that the young girl wasn't treated seriously as a victim from the start.
I think when you're...
Yeah, that story. Well, apparently, so they went after two, or I'm not gonna say three of the 5 men. They went after the police for not doing their job. They went after DCFS for not doing their job. And here that goes.
Court judge issued contempt of court orders against the director of DCFS, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savidi has the exclusive details.
We are responsible for the care and well-being of children who are being abused and neglected in the state of Illinois.
That was Mark Smith, the director of DCFS, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, last March. Tonight, he's facing legal trouble.
And for me, there is nothing more important than making sure that our system is accountable for the work that we do.
But the CBS 2 investigators have learned Smith is now the one accused of a lack of accountability, slapped with 2 contempt of court orders by a judge who ruled Smith violated the rights of 2 children who were left languishing in facilities for months. So there's some big news. This is unprecedented.
That's right.
Charles Goldberg is the Cook County Public Guardian.
Today, a judge in juvenile court in 2 cases, 2 unrelated cases, held the DCFS director, Mark Smith, in contempt of court for violating multiple court orders to place 2 children.
The court order describes how a 9-year-old girl suffered years of physical and sexual abuse at home. Then, in DCFS care, she was put into a psychiatric hospital. She was ready to be discharged all the way back in June, but she's still there. A judge saying DCFS disobeyed numerous court orders to get the child out of the hospital. That's why DCFS's director is being held in contempt. The girl has been confined 221 days after the date she was supposed to be discharged.
Have you ever seen anything like this ever happen before in the history of the state of Illinois?
So I've seen judges threaten to hold DCFS in contempt of court many times, but I've never seen it. I cannot recall. I've been working in juvenile court for more than 30 years. I cannot recall a single case where a judge actually held the DCFS director in contempt of court.
The other contempt order was issued after a 13-year-old boy in DCFS care was forced to sleep in a storage room.
He was sleeping on the floor of a utility room in an office.
And then he was basically in a storage closet.
In a storage closet of an office. And then DCFS moved into a shelter.
That child was sent to a downstate shelter and has been stuck there for 145 days. The reason for Smith's other contempt charge.
The truth is that our heart breaks every day in this system.
We interviewed Mark Smith last year after our CBS 2 investigators exposed how another child, a 10-year-old girl, had been trafficked out of the Grand Motel in Chicago. DCFS had received repeated complaints regarding her dating back several years, how at least 5 men had sexually assaulted her since the age of 7. But DCFS failed to put her in protective custody until her final rape case at the Grand Motel in October of 2020. Was that case mishandled?
Like I said, I can't speak to any.
I'm not asking you to name the girl. I'm not asking you to stop.
I appreciate that.
Smith wouldn't talk about how his department handled her case. We found once DCFS did finally step in, they kept the little girl locked in a psychiatric hospital 39 days longer than necessary. And it took 154 days for DCFS to get her into an appropriate placement. Was the case mishandled?
And my answer to that is I can't speak to any individual case.
It wasn't until after our stories that the girl was transferred.
Was it the media pressure that led to her finally being transitioned from that psychiatric hospital?
Absolutely, absolutely.
The 2 new contempt cases also call for sanctions, fines of $1,000 a day for every day the 9-year-old and 13-year-old are not properly placed somewhere. Goldberg says taxpayers pay at least $6 million a year to cover these inappropriate placements for children. In the 13-year-old's case, getting him placed where he's supposed to be would cost about $1,700 a month. Instead, the shelter he's been confined in costs more than 5 times that at $9,700 a month.
We always want to do what's best for the kids that we're serving.
Isn't there been an elimination of like 500 beds?
In recent years, there's been an elimination of a high number of beds, but we've also, in the last couple of years, really worked at not only increasing those numbers and rebuilding the supply of beds that we need.
The beds eliminated were in residential facilities and group homes. With all those places to live now gone, children end up languishing in psychiatric hospitals and shelters. It's a problem Smith inherited when he was chosen to lead the department in 2019.
They never replaced any of them.
What did those 500 beds that were eliminated, what did that do to the system?
It put the system in such a mess, and the system has been in shambles for the last 7 years since then.
DCFS is appealing the contempt charges. A decision is expected next week. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
Hey, because that's what they've done. They've made it a joke.
We first introduced you to the little girl last month. The 5th grader was taken to the top floor of the Grand Motel, room 324. In that case, a different man was involved, a 47-year-old from Chicago. Concerned motel workers called the police. It happened back in October, but officers failed to arrest the man or even take the girl to the hospital for a rape kit.
I really cannot comment on anything that the police may or may not have done with regard to their investigation. It would not be us who would be asking for the rape kit. That has to be done quickly and during the investigation.
So the state's attorney's office didn't know about the Grand Motel case?
In this case, we were never brought any charges to be considered.
The CBS 2 investigators have learned in 2020 alone, police were informed about 4 of her 5 abusers. Brown is accused of assaulting her in May. Later that summer, after no action from police or Child Protective Services, another man picked her up in his car and hit the road. The little girl was taken from Chicago across state lines to somewhere here in Gary, Indiana, where a 22-year-old man is accused of repeatedly sexually assaulting her. She was gone for days when police finally got a tip and traced his cell phone number. He was eventually arrested, but get this, only on misdemeanor charges. And the misdemeanors? Harboring a runaway and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Misdemeanor charges?
Y'all notice the third suspect,
from the drugstore.
they kept
Charles Goldberg has been fighting
his
on behalf of
face and
abused
his
children for
name.
the Cook County Public Guardian's Office.
They did not reveal those
Misdemeanor
2
charges are
things.
not for somebody
So that
who
lets me
had
know
sex
that
and raped a
he had
10-year-old
family
girl.
members
Prosecutors say
that work
Chicago
either for the
didn't
police
consult them before
department
deciding to only pursue misdemeanor
or in
charges.
the government that
The
was
man
able
who took her
to
Gary.
keep him covered up and give him a misdemeanor charge after he was caught.
So repeatedly, the Chicago Police Department did not come to the state's attorney's office and ask for felony charges.
No. We have not been presented with evidence to file charges.
It's a felony. All of it's a felony. All of it's a crime. This is a crucial part of what we expect our CPD to do is protect our children, if nothing else.
Our investigation prompted CPD to launch an internal probe into the mishandling of this girl's cases. After we started asking questions, CPD assigned a new detective to the case, and that's what led to the arrest of Samuel Brown late Friday. CPD says they're still investigating all of the other assault cases. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigator.
Now, I'm coming today. I sat back and I'm looking. I said, okay, that's a good thing. They're going after the people that surprisingly failed this young lady, this young girl, this little girl, 10-year-old girl. She was failed all around the corner. Notice how they named off all these people. They didn't get to the root of the problem. The mother. They spoke shortly on the mother, because I did see something where they did speak shortly on the mom, said something about she went to the man's house. She went to his house. So, yeah, you knew him. And then she took her to the hospital. So, to me, it sounded like as if she was trying to cover up herself so she won't be implicated, covering her steps. Hey, she was doing her part because we live in a selfish world. So, mom, to me, what it seems like, she was making sure she was covering her steps to make sure she's verified and cleared. But for the most part, it seemed like the mom didn't have nothing to worry about because no one went after the mom. Not no one. They even already said it in the report. This girl had been molested in her home 5 times. They letting you know, how was this access even available? And see, that's the problem that we're having in the world today. You know what I'm saying? They're hitting on, I'm glad to see that, CBS News did pick it up and they're trying to act on it because they really are the ones that push the police into pushing anything. The police just said they took it as the normal, everybody else seems like they does in this world, You even have the churches saying this is the norm. And you know what I'm saying? So it's accepted all around. You had the department, the police department. That's why they initially didn't do anything. Because it was the norm. It's the norm. It became so much of the norm to where it's, like the lady said, they taking it as a joke. I was told what they did to children back in the days. Like the disformed kids. If they came out disformed, they would take them to the river and drown them.
And the children
it's like we're still living
the adults
in the same world we was living in.
As I call them, the rejectors.
60, 70, 80, 90 years ago. I'm not even going to say 60. I'm going to start at 70. 70, 80, 90 years ago. They just do the kids any type of way. And they're doing them any type of way. And if you say something, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you speak? Just the way they did this little girl, to me is, then DCFS, she get in DCFS care, and they just leave her there. It's really sad. It's horrible. This girl had a very bad upcoming, and she will get through. She will deliver. I pray she will. So come through stronger than, than what they was trying to break her. Because obviously they was trying to break her. But God is stronger than any demon, any wicked act. And God always will show his work. He will show his work. So yeah, y'all, this was just my little update on the young girl. I'm just hoping that she's in a better place. As far as with people that really do have a heart of to care, to love, and to nourish, and to protect, and what else I wanted to say? I just wanted to really, I just felt like I really wish CBS would have did more on the mother end, because they didn't say if the mother had other kids. They don't speak on siblings or anything like that. They don't say if the mom was even questioned by the police, just questioned by anybody. They don't say nothing about this lady as far as, the part she played. And y'all, it's gonna come out eventually, just it's gonna play its role. The truth always gets revealed. Truth always gets revealed. So, I'm guaranteed something is going to unveil. But I just want to know when, how is they going, and for the most part, when it does, what they going to do, how can they help these women? Because I'm not looking for her mother to seek punishment. I mean, I am. She needs some type of punishment. But she also needs, I don't know, how can we retrain the women mindset? Because I honestly believe this woman was giving her daughter, because it's the embeddedness for me. Things has been embedded. Some women really do think they doing right. They don't even think it's wrong. It's the embeddedness. And they have to be retrained, reformed. Because then you have the elders looking like, what's something wrong with them kids now, these kids nowadays. And I just be thinking in my head like, these y'all kids. I did these. This done a whole nother generation. Yeah, but they came from the generation of yours. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to keep that in mind.
Acknowledge.
But who was their who was the generation of those kids? Yours. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be more mindful and accept. For one thing, it has to be acceptance. You have to not be in denial. Accept what it is. And then that's how we could move forward into how we can put it and make, for the most part, all a woman have to do is just speak up. I think that if that's...
And change the mindset.
With another vlog.
The mindset. We have to stop the lies.
To y'all this morning
and get in tune with
y'all
reality.
Remember when I covered this case about 8-9 months ago?
And reality is to like, subscribe, comment for more content. Bye.